Jordan and Gretzky, Serena and Ruth. Remembering great ones is easy to do. But what about the no-names who spent their whole lives long snapping footballs and catching sack flies? They're guys, remember that guy. Remember that guy, remember that guy, remember that guy, remember that guy. They're just gonna remember some guys now.
If they want me gone, they can. If they're tired of winning, they can send me on the way, because that's all we've done is win. So if they're tired of winning, we won this league 8 of the last 10 years. Is that not good? I'm just asking, is that good? I don't know if that's good or not. To win your league 8 out of 10 years, to go to the playoffs 7 out of 10 years, be in 4 national championships and win it twice? Yeah, we're a little down right now. Take your shots, but I got a long memory, in case y'all don't know. We'll be all right. We'll remember that guy. Sure, we mine our memories for nuggets of nostalgia about peripheral players, past and present. Hey there, folks, it is me, one of your hosts, James, here with the only guy winning more than Dabo and T-Pain combined.
I mean, that's quite a lot of winning. It's all I do no matter what. I am back again. Diaz, very happy to be back, but we do have a very special guest. He is a person who's not keeping tracks of wins and losses because he's just out here for love of the game. Please introduce yourself.
That's right. It's me, the very special guest, Xavier, who loves Dabo's inability to ever just want to use the transfer portal to the detriment of Clemson and just ride on the fact that the ACC was so bad for so long. He can always point to the fact that, hey, if you don't want me here, someone else is going to pay me even more money to just do the exact same thing.
What was his, like, yeah, we got NIL at Clemson. It's like something in the Lord. Like, what was that?
Yes. What was it? I gotta find this.
I also like that he called it the league. Like, of just all the stupid things about that, excellent coach rant. Like, that was an S-tier coach rant. It was incredibly good. But something about calling the ACC the league over and over again just really tickled me.
Diaz, it's, we built this program in God's name, image, and likeness.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, okay, I thought, because Dabo seems like he's a guy that loves taking an acronym and, like, appropriating it for something else. Like, I'm not going to give an example. That would definitely go poorly with my stream of consciousness. But you know what I mean.
I do know what you mean. But you know what I don't know, Diaz? I don't know yet, at least, what it is that's making memories for you right now.
I mean, listen, everybody else that has a podcast in the sports sphere has given their takes on the tush push this week. So I feel like we need to as well. It is what football is at its core. And if you want to say a few things about, the Eagles are false starting, the blah, blah, blah. First of all, I don't know what they were looking at. The play before we false started on 4th down, on 4th and goal, when they didn't call it and we got the tush push, there was a very clear image of the ball being over the goal line and Jalen Hurts not being down. And they're just like, you know what? We can't tell. You can literally highlight the ball on the screen and you can see it over the goal line, and they decided not to give us the touchdown. Here's what bothers me the most. It's not that if all these people organically were wrong about the tush push, so be it. It would still be annoying. I would be okay with it. It is so obvious that a directive came down from Roger Goodell leading into the week 2 games of, hey, listen, Dean Blandino, I need you to say this game. This play is impossible to officiate. Adam Schefter, I need you to go on a moral outrage about how the game was lost in March, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't lost when Travis Kelce dropped the ball on the 3-yard line and it led to an interception. It wasn't lost on anything that happened on the game. It wasn't lost on the Chiefs letting the Eagles get the ball back and kick a field goal at the end of the first half. None of those times is when the game was lost. The game was lost in March. Like, what are we... This faux moral outrage about it is just exhausting. And, like, clearly the strategy they're going for is, let's make all the discourse so toxic and so annoying that everybody's just like, I'm tired of hearing about it. Just ban it so we can be done with. We can't allow that type of thinking to win in this country. We simply can't. The tush push must live forever. The fact that we're the only team, the Bills can do it too because Josh Allen is also big as fucking strongest.
Mark Andrews took an excellent 4th down direct snap tush push in the Ravens-Browns game. We don't let Lamar do it, but Mark Andrews can run a tush push.
No, I was gonna say that. Like, you guys use Mark Andrews. The Packers used, I think, Tucker Kraft to do it a couple times. It's a great football play. If you can't do it with your quarterback, do it with somebody else. Because again, it's very clear. It doesn't matter if you know it's coming. Like, Mark Andrews is under center. Who cares? He's gonna get a yard.
The best thing about that was they had Mark Andrews go in motion and then line up at center on 4th and inches. Like, hey, guys, what the fuck do you think he's gonna do?
It bothers me so much. And it does seem that this is probably going to be the last year of the tush push. Just because, again, Roger Goodell is going to have his way. But damned if I'm not going to use our platform to speak up for what's right. What is tush? What is just? And it is the tush push, which, look, in this most recent game against the Chiefs, we did run it a lot. I'm not going to say we didn't. We ran it one time in the Super Bowl. Take away the touchdown. I don't care. I'm just so annoyed. I'm so over it.
Also, Chris Jones, if you're going to talk shit on Jalen Hurts and say he doesn't have 100 yards, you should probably check the stat sheet to make sure he actually doesn't have 100 yards.
Right. Yeah, no, that's... There's several things wrong with Chris Jones doing that. Remember when he faked the neck injury because he just got absolutely dominated when he tried to line up sideways? Yeah, it's just all... It's all incredible degrees of loser shit. It's such loser shit. I hate it. Get good, get big, get strong. That's the answer.
That is the answer. And now I search for another answer, which is Xavier. What's making memories for you?
Yeah, have either of you heard of GOUT?
I've heard of GOUT.
GOUT. No, I don't even remember. He's a sprinter, I think, right? Because I've seen the name GOUT and just been like, oh yeah, that's quite a name. And I literally forget what he does.
Yeah, GOUT is an Australian sprinter. He is the Australian and Oceanian record holder in the 200 meters. He set a time of 20.02 seconds this year. He is 17 years old. He beat the record that had stood for almost 60 years, held by one Peter Norman from the 1968 Summer Olympics. And GOUT is the second fastest under 18 runner of all time behind Arian Knighton of the U.S., who I believe did just get hit with a doping ban. So it might be, GOUT is the top one at this point.
GOUT's the GOAT, you're saying?
GOUT could be the GOAT. He's still young. He, had his first crack at the World Championships this year. Did not make the finals. He is 17, going up against Noah Lyles and many others. But it seems very clear that we should keep an eye on GOUT for the next Olympics, assuming they do happen in 2028, and assuming GOUT is allowed in the country. As people might have guessed, his family is from South Sudan, although he was born in Australia. I read a really good piece in The Athletic that was just about how much everyone in Australia loves GOUT. And also, his dad is trying to change their name back, because apparently it was originally pronounced like GOUT in the Dinka language, but it got anglicized to GOUT, and he hates it because of the association with the rich man's disease. So, who knows, by the time he's setting more records, he could be GOUT, but for now he is GOUT, and I love the fact that there is a guy named GOUT who is crushing records that have stood for 60 years and has a great connection to someone we have talked about at length on this podcast. So good luck to GOUT. The other thing I want to talk about is Eurobasket final did happen. Germany did run the table. They finally were held to a really close game, 88-83 over Şengün in Turkey. But yeah, Dennis Schroeder, MVP. It's really interesting because he is the most successful German for the German national team, but he will never be near the most popular German basketball player ever because Dirk and, also other reasons that I think are pretty easy to tell if you look at a picture of him next to Dirk.
They are very intentional to not have those reasons happen again in that country.
I was going to say, they're less racist than we are right now.
That's true. But I think when it comes to sporting heroes, that's like one of the one places where we're not like we still have
we're racist in a very specific way for our sporting heroes.
Yeah, but if you still ask people what their like most popular, the favorite basketball player, they'll still probably say LeBron here at least. So we do have that part. You know, I'm not trying to defend our country right now, but I do find it very interesting, like how dominant Schroeder's international career has been for Germany. Very, very interesting. But it was a great tournament. Şengün, I think, was the best player in the entire tournament, except for Luka. But Luka's team was so bad, he really couldn't do much of it on himself. We also had Giannis say that getting the bronze was the greatest accomplishment he's ever had in his life, which is wild from a man who won an NBA Finals for the Milwaukee Bucks. But, you know, good on Giannis. Like that, he cares so much about a bronze medal for Greece, their best showing in 16 years, that it is up there and actually surpassed NBA Finals.
Along those lines, and I mean, we've been so clear on this podcast. It's one of our most clear stated positions. But we need to have third place championships in every sport. NBA Finals, on the off day, the third place game happens. Same thing with MLB. Have a third place Super Bowl in place of the Pro Bowl the week before. What are we doing? We're not doing that. We should be doing that. We need to fix it.
So real quick, Xavier, I want to go back to something you said about LeBron being the most popular athlete, because I saw a really cool graphic earlier this week that showed that currently the most popular athlete in the United States by plurality. Either of you got a guess?
Is it Shohei?
No, it's not Shohei. It is international.
How is this being measured? Like Instagram followers or like?
It's
messy. It's messy.
It's messy, yeah. So it was done by Sports Poll in relation with a Sports Illustrated piece, and it's going. It was tracking like Americans' favorite pro athletes since 1995 by quarter. So like 4 measurements per year. Lionel Messi just became the most. Here's like some of the guys who have had the most recent one since then. Kobe Bryant had 3 of these quarters. Steph Curry had 1. Peyton Manning had 5. I'm going a little out of order because I'm just looking at the a graph as we go. LeBron James had 4, so he's got 1 cumulative year. Tom Brady has 7 total by the looks of it. Tiger Woods had 13. But Lionel Messi, when he took this top spot, took it from Michael Jordan, who has had the top spot every single other quarter since 1995, not claimed by one of those athletes I just named, including this year.
That sounds about right, to be honest.
But like, I'm still not clear. Like, is this Q rating? Is this number of people who claim them specifically as their favorite athlete? That's
my understanding, that Sports Poll was like asking people genuinely, not providing options, who is your favorite? And Lionel Messi, again, this is a plurality. Like MJ, in the heat of it, he was approaching 20%. Like at his peak, he was the respondent for 1 in 5 people. Messi won with 5%. Like this is a much more just spread out. People watch a lot of different sports things now, but it's kind of incredible that MJ had that much dominance through 2025.
I mean, I feel like a big part of it is he's still so much in the conversation because of the Jordan brand. Like, the biggest brand in basketball is Nike, and the second biggest brand in basketball is Jordan.
Anyway, that just came to mind, Xavier, when you brought that up. If you guys don't mind, I have an in memoriam piece here. We recently had someone pass away in the Baltimore football community. Thankfully, the Baltimore Ravens didn't have any moments of silence during their most recent home game, but it does mean that we did not get to have one for this individual. So I want to have a moment here to honor Andy Nelson. He was a defensive back for the Baltimore Colts during his 8-year career. 7 of those spent with the Colts. During that time, he's part of the 1958 NFL Championship, one of the greatest games ever played, if not the greatest game ever played. He's also part of the 1959 Championship the next year. He had 1 Pro Bowl, 2 All-Pro years, 1 first team, 1 second team, 33 career interceptions. But the reason that Andy Nelson is a Baltimore area icon is because towards the end of his playing career, and then for all of his post-playing career, out in Cockeysville, he had a joint called Andy Nelson's Barbecue. Easily the best barbecue in the state. Consistently the winner of Best of Baltimore's Barbecue for like the last 20 years since City Paper has been running that. And it is just, it is incredible. It's all hickory smoked. They got pork. They got ribs. They got brisket. They got chicken. It is amazing. It is like legitimately what he's better known for. There are some people who find out later, oh, Andy Nelson played football? That's radical, despite the fact that the place is covered in Baltimore Colts memorabilia. And he came by this honestly. Here's the kicker for us here on this show. His dad had been the chief barbecue man of Limestone County, Alabama, which was a big deal. And that's where he got most of his recipes, particularly sauce recipes. And his dad's name was Guy Nelson. And so I want to honor both of them now in this moment, but this is an in memoriam for Andy Nelson. Shout outs to him. I have not gotten a chance to make a pilgrimage up north since the news happened. I will be going to acquire some barbecue relatively soon.
It's I appreciate that others had like their Tim Horton experience with him, similar to what I had. And I would say, like, in a very similar space, like Greg Luzinski with the Phillies, Bulls Barbecue at Citizens Bank Park. Certainly he's like more well known for that now. The Bulls still witless, but rest in peace, Andy Nelson. I mean, presumably, you didn't confirm it, but Guy Nelson, the father, also.
Oh, yeah. Oh, long gone. I mean, Andy Nelson was an ancient dude who was still behind the counter a lot of the time, not taking orders anymore, not doing a lot of cooking, but Andy Nelson would call your order out and hand it out to you. My favorite sports memory at Andy Nelson's Barbecue, it's the one time I have ever seen in person Jonathan Ogden, a terrifyingly large man to see in person. Oh my God. Fucking huge. Very sweet. Was being very nice to everyone who was coming up and recognizing him, but fucking huge. And just got to watch him and Andy Nelson shoot the shit about Baltimore football for a little bit while I was waiting for my order one time. Great memory. My second bit. Did you guys hear about the headbutt in the Broncos-Raiders game?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, the Broncos-Raiders, they just played the other day. There was a headbutt. Oh, I should clarify. This is the Canberra Raiders and the Brisbane Broncos of Australia's National Rugby League.
Good bit.
So speaking of that 1958 NFL championship, this is already being called one of the greatest games ever played in the immediate aftermath. This was in they call a bunch of the playoff games the final, and then eventually there's the grand final. But this was a final game between the two of them. The Raiders, they're not just ahead late. They're ahead knowing that two of the better players for the Broncos are relatively out of the game until late because they were in the sin bin for two individual infractions. Patrick Kerrigan had taken a high shot at a Canberra defender, and so he got sent off to the sin bin to join Reese Walsh, who had just straight up headbutted a dude a little bit before that and was lucky to just get a penalty for it, Frank. And the two of them got to start strategizing in the sin bin, saying okay, as soon as we're out of here, we're turning this shit around. And then when they come back with about 7 minutes to go, amazingly enough, they do genuinely turn it around. Reese Walsh gets a first score, helps set up a second score, and then has a failed kick to tie it. But the referee who had previously sent him off, the official who had previously set him off, gives him a penalty on this, which was the very final play of regulation. Canberra thought they had it. They thought they had the win. Nope, he gets one more kick, manages to nail the game-tying kick in that moment, and we go to the golden point period. Functions the same as golden goal in soccer. Next point wins. That is the overtime for the NRL. Canberra, again, seemingly wins. They think they do, but the official just inserts himself into this game yet again, overturning it due to contact from another player prior to that kick that they had made for it. And so Brisbane get the ball back, and this dude, Ben Hunt, comes up with a moment to win this game, get them essentially a first-round bye for the rest of the way. He had missed a potential game-winning kick in the 2015 grand final, so he's been in a high-stress position before and failed. He knocks a kick. Incredibly Justin Tucker's 66 field goal-esque, hits the crossbar, bounces into the air, and rotates just far enough to go over for the bounce. The Broncos complete the comeback, stunning the Raiders fans, many of whom exchange middle fingers with Reese Walsh on the way out. Absolute pandemonium. The Broncos get that more or less bye. These two teams could still face again in the playoffs. God, I hope they do. I would love to see an epilogue to this Broncos-Raiders game. I will let you know if it happens. But I think we can say, after seeing Las Vegas play recently, by far the most exciting Broncos-Raiders game that will happen this calendar year.
Yeah, Vegas Raiders. Love you, Geno Smith. Not a whole lot else going on there.
I was going to say, I think Ashton's going to catch on. I do think he, by the end of this season, is going to look pretty good. I'm not saying like offensive rookie of the year, but both him and Cam Scadaboo have like seemingly made the leap from college to the pros pretty well. I'm excited to watch those guys continue to play. But they're both on rookie contracts, so they'll presumably be with those teams for a little bit. They've got some time. What we are interested in here as we continue this season is someone who is only there for a little bit, another cameo guy. Another guy who has served one particularly memorable season during a longer career with one team that will forever remember him for that singular season. And this time, my friends, it is none other than our very special guest, Xavier. I cede the stage to you.
Thank you, James. I'm really excited about this one because there's a couple different cameos this guy has here. And I think it makes for a really interesting story. And because this is going to be baseball, I do have to shout out our good friends at Sabre for incredible bio page that they have put together on this guy, along with Jorge Iber, who wrote a biography about this guy. And this guy is Mike Torrez. So Mike Torrez, born August 28th, 1946 in Topeka, Kansas. His family were Mexican immigrants who came to the Midwest to build railroads. And there was a strong Mexican contingent out in Kansas at this point because of that. And they liked to play baseball. And so he played baseball growing up. He didn't really get a chance to do this in high school because his high school had gotten rid of their baseball program because it conflicted with track season. So he just played baseball as an amateur and then was able to get into some travel teams and play for tournaments of Mexican immigrants around the Midwest, which is, you don't think there'd be a lot of scouting there, but there was enough that his local St. Louis Cardinals did offer him a $20,000 signing bonus to sign as a free agent when he was 18.
See, this is the very specific racism I was saying we have about sports. Because you tell me there's a fully Mexican, independent league in the Midwest, I would 100% assume baseball scouts are going there.
So he gets signed by the Cardinals and gets assigned to their single-A Rock Hill Cardinals of the Western Carolina League. He does well there, gets promoted to the AA Arkansas Travelers, and then 1967, while he's still in the minors, this time his coach is Warren Spahn. They try to help him with his command a bit because he can pitch, but sometimes he doesn't know where the pitches are going. And so he handwrites on his glove 4 words, and those words were think, concentrate, throw strikes. Pretty simple. And this works for Mike, at least for now. And he does well enough where he gets a September call-up with the Cardinals. And he makes one start before the playoffs. The Cardinals do go on to win the World Series that year. Mike is not on the roster, so he does not get to enjoy that. But he spends the offseason pitching in the Dominican League. And it's funny, he is like me in this sense, in that he did not know how to speak Spanish, and everyone in the Dominican assumed he could speak Spanish because his name was Mike Torrez. So there is one anecdote where he did an interview with a Spanish radio station. Quote, "The guy asked me in Spanish how tall I was, and I told him 220 pounds. It really cracked him up." And I can very much picture if I'm 20 years old and a baseball prospect, and I was pitching the Dominican, and they try speaking Spanish to me, Inglés. So, lo siento, Caucasian.
You just got to memorize 1 or 2 endearing phrases to just repeat over and over. Me gusta béisbol.
Primero día.
See, the thing is, both of you know Spanish, so it's going in one ear and out the other for me. But it's fine. It went in one ear, out the other for Mike. But he's a pretty highly regarded prospect at this point. in the spring training issue of Sports Illustrated in 1968, they did their Hot Rookies cover. And on the cover is Johnny Bench and Mike Torrez, along with a couple others.
Skimpy swimsuits, or it's not that kind of Hot Rookies?
It's not that kind of hot Rookies. It's more of like the hot potential they had.
This isn't a Jim Palmer underwear ad?
It is not. Not yet. So it's tough for a rookie to make the rotation of a team that just won the World Series, but he does. He does make the opening day roster. First 5 appearances, he has a 2-1 record, 2.84 ERA. But the Cardinals' rotation is so stacked. They're like, we want him to get more regular game time, more regular reps. So they sent him back down to AAA to Tulsa. He ends up leading Tulsa to the AAA title that year. 8-2 record, a 3.24 ERA. But he doesn't make it back to the bigs that year. 1969, he makes the opening day roster again, this time as a reliever. But after 1 month, he gets added to the rotation. He has a bit of a rough start, but then over the last 10 starts of the year, he goes 9-0 with a 2.57 ERA. Once again, really good, but he has still command issues where, he's not giving up contact, but if he doesn't get you out, he's probably walking you. In his book, Baseball for Brain Surgeons and Other Fans, the Cardinals catcher at the time, Tim McCarver, said, "When Mike Torrez was a young Cardinals pitcher, he was tougher to catch than Bob Gibson. I was struck on the inside of the wrist on one pitch without the ball even touching the mitt. That's how much his ball was moving. It was heavy and exploding. So as long as he could locate it, no one could hit it. The problem was, more times than he would have liked, he could not locate that." And this is kind of the high watermark for Mike Torres' time with the Cardinals. He struggles in 1970, and then during the first series in 1971, he cuts his hand open on a broken water glass, and it causes him to have surgery, which messes with the feeling in his arm, and he just can't pitch the way he used to. And so by June, he gets traded to the Expos for a reliever. We have a Kansas boy here, never been too far away other than that, winter pitching in the Dominican. But now he's in Montreal. And the Montreal Expos were really, really shit at this point. Like, we know the Expos were generally shit, but at this point they were really shit. So he only pitches once in 1971. Expos don't know what they have with this guy. After a full offseason, he comes in 1972, and he becomes the leader of the rotation. He goes 16-12 with a 3.33 ERA. He predicted after that season, like, I'm going to kick on. He says, I'm going to win 23 games minimum. Does not work that way. He does much worse than the year before. He goes 9-12 with a 4.46 ERA, 115 walks, and a league-leading 14 wild pitches. And also has a major falling out with his manager who openly talked shit on him for not being able to throw strikes. After one more season with the Expos, where they tried to trade him and couldn't, he does finally get dealt. This time, he gets traded along with Ken Singleton to the Baltimore Orioles for Dave McNally, Rich Coggins, and Bill Kirkpatrick. So we have an Orioles legend, Mike Torrez. With the O's, once again, he has a strong start. Makes good impressions, and he kind of has waves of he's really good for like a month or two, and then really bad. But during that month or two, he's essentially unhittable. So by the middle of May, he's 5-1. He has 4 complete games. One of the more memorable things he did with the O's was on June 24th during a game against the Yankees. He hits Thurman Munson with a pitch in the first inning. Gives up a hit to him in the 4th, and then throws at his head in the 6th. And then, so when Munson comes up in the 8th, the umpire told him, hey, if you throw close on him, I'm tossing you. Don't do that. So instead, Mike Torrez blew kisses at Thurman Munson, which led to the benches clearing, which I think, as far as I can tell, is the only instance of a bench clearing kisses-induced brawl in Major League Baseball.
I'm trying to think of Joe Kelly feels like the modern guy to inspire something like that, because he's definitely done some similar facial expressions on the way out. But I do think kiss-wise that is great. And just so we're keeping track, we're like mid-70s now, right?
Yes, this is currently 1975.
Oh, damn. So they traded McNally for him. So 74, just to give some Orioles context. That's the last time any team had 4 20-game winners. Dave McNally was one of those. So I just would not have thought that he'd get traded immediately after that.
Yep. So this is 1975. And during this at-bat, Torrez does get Thurman Munson to ground out. And then Munson does charge him after that.
Yankees suck.
Torrez said after this game, quote, "I haven't been in this league that long, but apparently you try to pitch guys tight, they start hollering. I can't change my pattern of pitching just because he's crying about it." I mean, I do appreciate that, even if the opposing player here was a Yankee. I do like that. Like, hey, I just pitched him in. What's the problem? Like, he shouldn't complain. Torrez, first half of that year, goes 10-5. Second half of the year goes 10-4. So he is a 20-game winner for the first time in his career. He also becomes the first Mexican-American to win 20 games in a season in the majors. Overall, he went 20-9 with a 3.06 ERA and 16 complete games. He even got some down-ballot MVP votes. He finished 16th in MVP voting. Singleton got MVP votes too, finishing 10th. And this trade quickly went down as the worst trade in Expos history, as every player they got sucked, and the two guys they traded both got MVP votes. Despite having Torrez and Jim Palmer, who won the Cy Young this year, the O's did unfortunately miss the playoffs as their 90-69 record. Although nice was not nice enough to catch the Red Sox. Despite the setback, the O's seemed like they were in good shape, but they spent the whole offseason trying to add some power to their lineup because they had an incredible rotation, but they couldn't hit at all. Their team batting average, I think, was like 225 during 1975. So right before the 1976 season starts, the O's get their bat. They acquire Reggie Jackson and Ken Holtzman from the A's for Don Baylor, Paul Mitchell, and Mike Torrez. After the trade gets announced, Torrez said, "What must I do to stay with a team?" Poor Mike Torrez.
Also yes. A cameo guy in this situation.
Yes, you traded a cameo guy for another cameo guy. Torrez still speaks very fondly on his time in Baltimore. In a 2017 interview, he said, quote, "I didn't really learn how to pitch until I got with George Bamberger, who was the pitching coach for the Orioles. I won 20 games in 1975, and George worked with me on a curveball that season. He taught me the fundamentals of how to pitch, and specifically how to set up hitters with the pitches I had. I didn't have a curveball to speak of before that. I had a fastball, a sinker, a slider, and a changeup. Learning to throw the curveball really helped me establish myself." So he credits actually learning how to pitch rather than just overpower to the Orioles. Less than a week after his trade to the A's, he ends up starting opening day for the A's over Vita Blue. He gets the win against the Angels, and over his first 6 starts, he gets 3 wins and has a 2.88 ERA. This includes an 11-1 win over the O's, who were starting Jim Palmer. So, a little bit of revenge for Mike Torrez there. For those who might not remember, this 1976 season is the year that Charlie Finley, the A's owner, tried to have a fire sale mid-season where he tried to trade all of his best players, and when he couldn't do that, tried to sell all of his best players. So we had situations where he sold Vita Blue to the Yankees, only to have that reversed by Bowie Kuhn, along with a couple other sales. And so it's a shit show in Oakland. And despite that, they are much better than anyone expected, and they're right behind the Royals for a playoff spot. And during this charge, they're led by Mike Torrez. He has 3 consecutive shutouts of the Angels, the White Sox, and the Rangers between September 3rd and September 11th. And from the beginning of July through the remainder of the season, he goes 10-3 with a 1.42 ERA. Fortunately, they come up just short, 2 games behind the Royals. They do not make the playoffs, But he has a 16-12 record with a career best 2.50 ERA, which was second in the AL. And he struck out 115 batters while only walking 87, which is the best strikeout to walk ratio he had ever, which is not a good strikeout to walk ratio, but it's the best one that he had. This is also around the time that the reserve clause, was gotten rid of, as we have talked about in the past, due to his old teammate, Curt Flood. And Torrez, given the chaos of the A's, talked before the 1977 season about how he's going to play out his contract in 77, and then he is going to leave because he needs somewhere with more stability. He wants to be able to make some money and take advantage of being a free agent. He had a chance to be one of the first, real hot ticket free agents. Prior to the start of the 77 season, Finley implemented a 20% pay cut across the board to all Oakland players. Unfortunately, because he had also cut all the accounting staff, he was doing all this himself and accidentally gave Torrez a 20% raise. And so after doing this, he calls Torrez up. Quote, "Let's treat this like gentlemen," Finley told him. "Let's tear up the contract." Finley offered as compensation a year's supply of what was apparently his famous chili. So essentially, take away the 20% raise I gave you, and then also make it a 20% cut, but I'll give you some chili. Does that sound like a fair deal? Mike Torrez said hell no. So within a month, he gets traded. And this time, he gets traded to the New York Yankees for Doc Ellis, Larry Murray, and Marty Perez.
I mean, let me say, I would need a cup of the chili before I made a decision. Because if we're saying a year's supply, if this chili was good enough that I was like, you know what, bang, that's lunch every day, based on what contract values were back then.
Is it worth $40,000?
$40,000 worth of chili. I could eat $40,000 worth of chili.
I mean, let's
if it was
break
good
this down.
chili, I could.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so 12 months in a year, so we're looking at roughly like $3,300 food budget a month. It's gonna have to be some banger chili. You could tell me if you're eating this chili for, let's say, 1.5 meals a day. Sometimes you have it for lunch, you have it for dinner every other day. If it's really good chili.
Well, like I said, he doesn't take the chili. He gets traded so they can get rid of his contract. And he does not make the best first impression with the Yankees because he does not show up in New York for like a week. He had a very good reason for it at the time. His wife had just had their baby and was having postpartum complications. But no one knew this, and so a rumor was spread in New York that he went on a fishing trip in Arizona with his agent. And so by the time he shows up in New York, everyone's like, why the fuck were you on a fishing trip? We traded for you. You missed your start. What the hell's going on? So he has to, win back some goodwill from this completely false rumor. Makes his first start May 3rd, gets the win as the Yankees beat the Angels 8-1. But he ends up struggling, and he's not doing well at all. By July, he's 8-10 as a 4.90 ERA. This is not what he was trying to do, going into his one and maybe only chance at free agency. And so he asks Billy Martin, let me pitch every fourth day. I think I need more work to be successful. So, rather than have the 4 days rest, he only wants 3 days rest. And this works. He pitches 7 complete games in a row for the Yankees, winning all of them. The last game of the streak, this started late July, ends late August, and this last one against the White Sox capped a 6-day span, which the Yankees moved from 5 games behind the Red Sox into first place for the AL East. In a September 30 interview, Mike said, I'd like to stay here. I really would. I've been on 4 teams in the last 4 years. I'd like to stay in one place, maybe finish out my career here. Overall, in the regular season, Mike has a 14-12 record with a 3.81 ERA, 90 strikeouts, 75 walks. His combined numbers with the couple starts he had in Oakland were 17-13, 3.88 ERA, 102 strikeouts, 86 walks. and Mike reaches the playoffs with the Yankees for the first time in his career. In the AL Championship Series, he gets to play against another local team of his because it is the Yankees against the Royals, the true closest team to where he grew up. The first 2 games were in New York, next 3 were in Kansas City, and he starts game 3, takes the loss, allowing 5 runs over 5 1/3 innings. But then in game 5, the decider, Yankees put out Ron Guidry. He was only on 1 day's rest at this point, and he struggles with his command. And they have to pull him in the 3rd inning after giving up 3 runs. Yankees are down 3-1, and there's already a runner on first. So they bring in Mike Torrez. He strikes out both batters in the 3rd to keep it at 3-1, and then pitches 4 2/3 more scoreless innings as the Yankees make a comeback to win this game 5-3 that sends them to the World Series. So, massive fireman effort from Mike Torrez relieving the ace, Ron Guidry. So now we get to the World Series. Teams split the first 2 games, and then Mike Torrez starts game 3 against Tommy John in Los Angeles. Yankees score 3 runs in the top of the first. Dusty Baker evens it up with a 3-run home run off of Mike in the 3rd. But then he buckles down after that, pitches a complete game. Yankees win 5-3. After the teams...
We just need to pause for a moment because we need to acknowledge both Tommy John and Dusty Baker were his opponents in this game.
I know, it's incredible. There's so much of like talking about other guys in there about this story. So the team split games 4 and 5. And so they return to Yankee Stadium game 6. Mike Torrez on the mound in the closeout. Now this game is known today as the game where Reggie Jackson hit 3 home runs on 3 consecutive pitches. But the man on the mound was Mike Torrez, who pitches another complete game and catches the last out when Lee Lacy hits a pop-up bunt in the 9th inning that Mike Torrez catches. In his 2 complete games for the Yankees, Torrez strikes out 15, walking only 5 with a 2.5 ERA. He saved his best for the World Series. Mike Torrez is a World Series champion. Despite saying that he wanted to stay in one place, he did also say he wanted whoever would pay him the most money. And guess who was willing to pay him the most money? Because it was not the Yankees.
This is like 79 now?
This will be 78.
Right, it wouldn't be 79 because that's Pirates Orioles in the World Series. Let's say the Angels.
Diaz, do you have a guess?
American League team, a lot of money. I'm thinking big markets, so I'm going to say Boston.
He signs with the Boston Red Sox on a 7-year, $2.5 million contract. The Red Sox had finished 97-64 the year prior, but did not make the playoffs because of the Yankees. And by adding Mike Torrez and trading for Dennis Eckersley, they thought, okay, we finally have a rotation that can beat the Yankees. Mike does his part for most of the year. After a 10-inning complete game win over the Brewers on August 13th, he was 14-6, and the Red Sox were 9 games up on the Yankees. Things looked great for them. Fortunately, from August 23rd through September 24th, he goes 0-6 with a 4.98, including 2 losses to the Yankees, as the Red Sox completely collapse. The low watermark comes when the Red Sox are up 4 games on the Yankees. Yankees come to Fenway for a 4-game set. Mike pitches the first game. He lasts 1 inning as they lose 15-3. Yankees go on to sweep, and the series becomes known as the Boston Massacre. After this, the Red Sox do find a way to recover a bit. They go 12-2 over their last 14 games, which included a Mike Torrez 3-hit shutout against the Detroit Tigers. And as we all know, but you may not know based on the year I've said so far, the Yankees and the Red Sox finished the 1978 regular season with identical 99-63 records, forcing the first tiebreaker playoff game in the AL since 1948. The Red Sox win a coin flip to host this game. The Yankees put out Ron Guidry, the man who Mike Torrez had saved in the championship series the year before, and the Red Sox start Mike Torrez. Red Sox take a 1-0 lead in the second with a home run by Yaz. They get a second in the sixth. And then in the seventh inning, Mike Torrez gives up a 3-run home run to Bucky Dent.
Bucky fucking Dent.
And Mike Torrez gets pulled and takes the L as the Red Sox, despite winning 99 games, lose at home in a tiebreaker playoff when Bucky Dent hits a 3-run home run off of him in a game that the Red Sox thought they had in the bag. This essentially killed Torres' career because he became synonymous with Boston failure. Despite, again, he had a good season with the Red Sox, but he gave up the game-winning home run to the Yankees in a tiebreaker playoff. The worst thing that Boston fans had felt in decades.
Like, this is their second year in as many, missing the playoffs with 90-plus wins. Like, and remembering that this is all pre-86. Like, yeah, Boston fans all suck now, with all due respect. I'm sorry, guys. You suck. But I can kind of understand where they used to be coming from.
The meme that came to mind is the classic Bart Homer, like, this is the worst postseason collapse of my life. It's like, this is the worst postseason collapse so far. So he kind of alternated good and bad seasons. He was 16-13 in 1979, 9-6 in 1980, 10-3 in a strike-shortened 81, and 9-9 in 1982. But he was booed relentlessly, like the whole time, the whole length of his contract, to the point where Dennis Eckersley said that the Red Sox staff moved their starts around to avoid Mike Torrez having to pitch in Boston because the fans hated him so much for giving up that home run that even if he was pitching well, he would get booed mercilessly by the Fenway fans.
Okay, I take back my sympathy. They sucked then, too.
There was even a rather uncomfortable situation where he went to a Celtics game at one point, and the PA announcer calls him out there, leading to the entire arena booing him, a thing that the Celtics apparently then apologized to Mike Torrez for. He gets traded to the Mets for a player to be named later, and does not go back to Boston for, I believe, 30 years after that. The grass was not greener for Mike Torrez taking that contract, and I think it's even worse the fact that, again, he just won a World Series with the Yankees, gave up that home run to the Yankees, who then won the World Series again, and he became the most hated man in the entire city, and they did not let him forget it for years. So he becomes, the elder statesman of a bad Mets team, has another mediocre year and a half there before he ends his career with a couple of relief appearances for the A's. Overall, Mike Torrez had an 18-year career, 185 wins, 160 losses, 3.96 ERA. He had a WAR of 22.9. So over his 18 years, he essentially averaged a WAR of 1.1, which almost seems incredible to have that happen for a career that was so lengthy. But it really has to do with the command issues, because he has 23rd most walks in baseball history. He gave up 1,371 walks in 3,043 innings. Everyone who's above him pitched at least 2,000 innings more than him. But for essentially 2 years, he had incredible seasons with teams and then became fan favorites with them. One, he still kind of is, where his most famous cameo year was the year with the Yankees, where he helped win them the World Series, and he was beloved for then, and then immediately lost all that goodwill, and then ironically got it back when the Yankees cheered him for helping them win the 1978 World Series.
Was he just a sleeper agent the whole time? Is that what we've discovered in this presentation?
It would explain some things. No, it wouldn't. Mike Torrez, Yankees fans definitely like Mike Torrez more than Boston fans. But he really loved his time with the O's. And I think he was really hurt by getting traded by the O's based off a lot of like the articles I've seen. Obviously, anytime you win a World Series, that's going to be the high watermark of your career. But just his interviews in his later years have been a lot about how much he really appreciated pitching in Baltimore. And it is an interesting thought experiment of what if he never was traded from Baltimore and he got to build on that 20-win season with the O's, learn from Jim Palmer. Didn't happen, but for a guy with 2 cameos with AL East teams, pretty successful cameos, I think he fits the bill for a cameo guy. And I really like Mike Torrez, despite his Red Sox time. And I think just with everything he went through, including the Chili incident, I think he's just an interesting guy, and he's an interesting cameo guy.
So I want to tease out the description cameo here for a little bit to tell you like what I was thinking of Mike Torrez as we go through here. Because you think about like a cameo. Let's talk film for a second. You think cameo, you assume it's like someone that is well known for other acting appearances, making a quick, brief appearance in one thing. Mike Torrez seems more like an actor talk of that guy, which does not make him, unqualified for this, but to me, he reads more like, a Steven Tobolowsky or the dude who played like the Zodiac killer in Zodiac. Like he's one of those actors. When we're saying cameo guys, like it feels as though you need to first think about them. What fan base claims Mike Torrez? I don't know if he spends long enough anywhere that he's got like a career there. And also he had this one season there. And this is not a knock on him. This is kind of like what I think eventually when it comes to litigation, I'll kind of approach him with is this thought that all of these individual seasons fit the bill. But it's interesting to see that he's someone who's more kind of like always a supporting character, one of those dudes who gets a recurring role for one season. And then finally, someone's like, you know what? We should build a project, build a movie, or build a series about this one dude. That's his contract in Boston. And you realize, actually, he can't be the guy in this. Like, he can't carry a movie. He can't be the top billed star. He needs to be at those peripheries. Again, I don't think any of this is disqualifying for him. And I am describing him as that guy, which is in the show title. So, like, he's still fully eligible. But that is my immediate reaction to Mike Torrez is like, it interrogates, I think, the premise of the cameo. And I'm interested to have that thought experiment with him later. Either way, a delightful guy, like a delightful story, and I appreciate it very much, Xavier.
Yeah, the only thing for certain as far as the who claims Mike Torrez, very clearly Boston does not. And
for sure.
Well, like, and to that extent, like, I almost feel like the Yankees claim him because like he plays a key part in 2 Yankees championships. One directly and one by Bucky fucking Dent.
For sure. But then we get into the thing like, if a fan base is claiming him, and it's one of the fan bases where we're approaching it as this is one of the cameo years, does it count as a cameo year if the first fan base to go after him is like one of those years?
That's fair. No, it is a good question for further debate.
Exactly. But that debate will have to wait for another day. In the meantime, let's go ahead and start seeing ourselves out here. There are a lot of people that we need to thank, as always, for making this episode possible. First off, thank you, producer Craig and all the coders behind him. Thank you, music director Don Ham, for that lovely theme music. Thank you to my 2 partners in crime. And thank you, dear listener, for joining us as well. A couple things here real quick on the way out that I'm going to spring on everyone here. As always, a lot of shit sucks right now. A lot of people capitulating in many ways. Most of all, the thing I want to say, this is coming out on Monday. If you're listening to this Monday, I beseech you, don't fucking watch Monday Night Football tonight. Please don't. You can find any number of other apps that will give you information. Get a fucking illegal stream or something. Don't watch Monday Night Football. Just don't. Fuck those assholes. Last thing, though, that I want to say on a positive thing, I hope in the meantime you can enjoy the other thing that is hitting your feeds today in this delightful Monday. There's any number of things that you can do to not consume anything on ABC, Hulu, ESPN, Disney, etc. Not trying to like stand on a soapbox here or anything, but as someone whose team is playing in the Monday Night Football game, the night that this is releasing, I'm going to be on fucking radio. Don't watch Monday Night Football. Sorry to be a bummer there for a second. Anything from you guys on the way out?
No, I encourage sports on radio. I'm a big fan of it. I've had to do it more as, driving for work all the time. It's great. Let your mind fill in the blanks.
It's a lot less stressful when only one sense is being engaged.
Temple's going to beat Georgia Tech this weekend. No, they're not. It'll be closer than the game against Oklahoma.
Do they still have Jeff Collins?
No, they don't have Jeff Collins anymore.
The Jeff Collins Bowl, I was going to say.
Go Owls, go Birds. Anything else? Until next time, lovely people, I've been one of your hosts, James.
I've been the very special guest, Xavier.
And I'm Diaz, and as the First Amendment text very plainly reads, Congress shall make no law prohibiting the expression of God.
It's in the Constitution.
That is true.
When you said he's had 2 naps of 90 or more minutes, it made me think of like baby analytics for some reason. Like, what is his NAR? What is his naps above replacement?
Dude, I can tell you, we have every single nap he's ever taken tracked in an app.
Dude, I need baby analytics.
I am putting this baby shit on the cloud.
No, that's fair. But baby analytics as a
It
concept,
tells you when bedtime is based off of his nap schedule.
Well, Diaz, I'll tell you, like, when you get the measurements from the doctors, they put everything in, like, percentile. So, like, you can make...
That's how he's in the 92nd percentile for height. He's a tall boy.
Yeah.
Listen, when I was from grades 1 through 8, I was in the 95th percentile for height. And then after 8th grade, I didn't grow another inch. So, like, maybe that's where my analytics hate really comes from. Maybe that's the roots. I was promised I would be at least 6'4". What the fuck is this bullshit?